ora, talo falava, and welcome to TP Plus, Tangata Pasifika's Summer Series. I'm Alistair Cuther. Over the next half hour, I'll be chatting to our panel about our topic of the day, what makes us Pacific Islanders? We ask what it is that makes you a Pacific person in Aotearoa today. How do you establish your sense of identity? Is it about knowing your language and culture? Joining me to have their say are Auckland City Councillor Whaanana Efeso Collins.
Woo! Hey. Welcome.
Proud Samoan poet and artist Grace Taylor. And also Fijian influencer Malcolm Andrews. And finally, our very own Tongan celebrity, John Pulu.
Celebrity even? Oh.
I don't know who wrote the script.
I had no say in the script, I must say it.
Well, kia ora everybody. Thank you for joining us. Before we start, throughout the show, we'll be playing a game of Who Am I? We'll give you clues so you and our panellists can try and guess who our mystery Pacific person is. Here's our first clue. I was born in Hawaii. So that could be a few different people. I know you're big on Hawaii, you love it. It's like your second home. Anyways, we'll have more clues later and we'll see if our panellists can guess who it is. But first, what is it that makes us who we are? What makes us Pacific Islanders? We'll start with you, Whaanana. What do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that we've all come from the islands to New Zealand, and so we've got a bit of a definition around what we are as Pacific people. So I think part of our challenge, especially when I was growing up, because, you know, I'm only 25 now, but as we're growing up, we often felt to feel like we're small, we're migrants, we're part of a small community. And I guess when you think of what E Pili Hauofa wrote when he said our sea of islands, and it's knowing the greatness of what we've got, because we've got some great things, and we've got to tell the Chinese and the Japanese and some others to stop fishing and stealing our fish. But anyway,
Whoa.
But that's part of our identity, is we've got great things to offer. I don't think New Zealanders realise just how great we are, and part of our challenge is acknowledging that we're great.
It's different things that make us Pacific people. What do you think, Grace?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think genealogy is definitely the starting point of defining as Pacific Islander. But the way of being, like how we see the world, how we express ourselves in our world. And like, I mean, for me personally, I always think it's constantly evolving and changing.
Absolutely.
As the times, as we adapt, as we move, as we spread out across the world. You know, like I'm a child of diaspora within Oceania, you know, and so that's like Hapeleofa for me personally was my way of understanding that I belong to a big sea of islands as opposed to just one island. And because of that, I have a responsibility to a wide group of people in Ocean.
Well, I guess for me personally, when I talk about being a Pacific Islander, I'm talking about holistic life. I'm talking about my spirituality. I'm talking about my values. I'm talking about the way I look. And like you said, it's not necessarily the way I look anymore. It's not the language that I speak. It's more than that. So for me, as a Pacifica, what makes me different is the values that I carry with me.
I agree with you. I mean, with the Tongan culture, you know, the Tongan values, and we're passing it down through our language and culture, and that's something that's unique to Tongans only, that's different to everyone else.
But there are younger Pacific Island kids at home that are thinking, but why is my language so important to me? Why do I have to learn it? I mean, why is it important that all those amazing things you said, that we hold on to them? What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of our people are now living outside of our Pacific Islands, and it's really important that this is our link back to the Pacific, as our language and culture.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's unfortunate that some of our languages are endangered.
See, and that's part of the challenge with the notion of Pacific, is because really the first language of the Pacific is English. That's what we learn when we're here. We lose our connection to our own languages, and unfortunately part of who we are. Now, I'm not saying if you don't speak Samoan, you're not a Samoan. What I am saying is we've got the opportunity to really hold on to those languages. That defines us as being different from Palangis. We're not just Pacific. And look, if the academics were here, they would say there's a problem with this discussion because the notion Pacific is this odd kind of, we've been given it by Palangis and government.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, I'm Samoan, I'm New Zealand-born, Samoan raised, all of that kind of stuff we need to remember. So I think our young people, as they search, they're thinking, well, what am I? Am I a Kiwi? Am I someone who only speaks English? So does that mean I'm no longer Tongan or Fijian? So those are some deep questions that they're having to grapple with.
Yeah, I think definition needs to come from us. You know, it can't come from the outsider in. In terms of language, I fully believe that language is what helps a culture survive and thrive as well, not just survive, but thrive. But I would like to see a shift of going back to an importance of oratory practice and oratory language through the oratory practice being a priority. What I love about oratory practice is that it requires us, especially in the social media age, to stop and pause and have face-to-face conversation, you know, like going to the islands, sitting down with grandma and having a talanoa face-to-face, as opposed to, I'm going to Google the story of my village.
Yeah.
And it's important with these generations going forward because it is a social media generation. So it's getting them away from that and going back to our traditional means of communicating, I guess.
Well, I think that's I guess for me personally, if we are to rewind everything back, we pride ourselves of sons and daughters of navigators, meaning that our ancestors left their homeland wherever they are. Okay, and that means when they traveled, they lost their language, their culture. But the tiny bits that we're still holding on are the things that we could remember them of. So for our generations now, yes, they may not speak the language, they may not act the way we used to act, but it's in their blood, it's embedded in them. So we who understand, who speaks the language, who live the cultural ways, need to be more embracing and welcome them into our community, into our space, and teach them. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, changing the way that we embrace our
But
cultures.
we are steps ahead in terms of other indigenous cultures. I mean, we've got churches here, we've got businesses, you know, we're dominating in various sectors. So I'm very proud, I mean, in comparison to others who, you know, have...
But here's another, way to look at it. A few years ago, or 10 years ago, it wasn't really in vogue or that cool to be a Pacific person. Now it seems like everybody wants to be a Pacific person.
Yes.
And there's that whole thing of, I'm Sonny Bill Williams' cousin too. You know, it's that
But
pride.
I am though. I mean, look at the similarities. Yeah. We have the same tones. Yeah. We have the same tones.
So, what changed over the last few years that makes us, or other people, that might not have been proud, really proud now to be
I
Pacific?
think there's an appreciation of Pacific indigenous culture. I mean, look at Disney, taking on Moana. I mean, I wasn't invited to be part of it, but that's cool. I'm not angry. But,
Right.
on an international stage, our Pacific language and our sounds are, being captured by this, other audience. It's not just for Pacific, but for others. And it's wonderful when you see non-Pacific people singing the songs and, saying te fiti.
That's so true,
things
yeah.
like that.
I think the arts has had a big part in it. I mean, no doubt academics and scholars have helped promote it in terms of having research, like in the Western world, want to have research to back up things in that. But the arts, I think, music, film, poetry, like literature, all sorts have helped elevate and make people you can't ignore it. In New Zealand, in Aotearoa, you can't ignore our Pacific people, I feel.
Yeah.
What makes you proud to be a Pacific Island?
My hair, I guess.
Did you do that especially for us today? Oh yeah, can't forget the fan and the fan.
You must be Fijian then.
Well, I guess for me, I'm the person that I am today because of the giants, the walk before me. So people who paved the way, who have written stuff down, who've acted stuff out, and like you talked about art getting out there, the more exposure. So as being a young Pacific person, oh man, I'm still young. Eh? Being a young Pacific
That's us, brother.
being a young Pacific person, see, I look up and say, if they can do that, I can as well. So it's more motivating, it's more, it's like a ripple effect.
I wonder if we've got a generation that is coming through the New Zealand system saying, I want to be more than just what's gone before me.
Yeah.
So what I think this next generation has is the ability to tell a new story.
Yeah.
And as we develop that new story, we get that pride back, whether it's in spoken word, poetry, it's the new forms of expression.
I love that, developing on our culture and also evolving our identity as well. Beautiful, great points. But did everyone agree out there on the street, JP?
Yes, our people had a lot to say about Pacific identity. Let's have a look at some of the comments. How do we identify as Pacific people?
I think identity in itself is not just by the colour of my skin. It's the upbringing.
For me personally, my identity will be keeping my culture, knowing where I come from, my roots.
Whatever makes you feel like you're doing right by your culture is perfect.
Malolele Nissan Bulavanaka, welcome back to TP Plus, Tangata Pasifika's Summer Series. Today our panel's talking about our Pasifika identity. What is it that makes us who we are? But first, here's the second clue for our Who Am I mystery person. Game of Thrones really put me on the map. Oh, see, now you guys get
I
it.
still don't know who it is.
Hawaii, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones fans? Yes, anyone? Well, we'll reveal who our mystery person is at the end of the show. But right now, back into our discussion. So, I want to take it back to language and culture because you guys brought that up a lot.
I believe when my parents' generation, they were told that speaking English is the way forward. And I'm so grateful that nowadays we're taking it back to learning our actual languages because we're celebrating it here in Aotearoa. And I mean, for example, the Tongan language, we used to celebrate it during the Tongan Language Week. And now it's now a year now that we, only because we care so much about this taonga, this treasure that we want to keep it alive for the next generation.
Does it make you less of a Pacific Islander if you don't know your language?
No, absolutely not. I went to school in the days when we were being told to not speak Samoan at home. So none of my family speak Samoan that well, and I spoke it because I got raised in Samoa. So there's that part of it as well. I think New Zealand's kind of moved on, but it doesn't make you less of a Samoan or a Tongan. But it will give you challenges. That's my guess, is because I think there's an innate part of you that wants to be able to communicate.
For you, Malcolm, is that a Fijian? Are you fluent?
Yeah, so my first language is actually Fijian, and when I first came to New Zealand, I had to learn how to speak English. It was hard for me, but I needed to speak the language in order for me to fit in. But then knowing the language, sometimes I'm beginning to be comfortable with my English and not go back to my Fijian. But embracing both, I guess it makes me a real Fijian, but at the same time, I need to acknowledge those who cannot speak the language. But it doesn't make you less of Fijian.
What about for you, Grace?
I have an interesting journey with my Samoan language. And for me, when I was younger, being a fair-skinned Afagasi, language became a very clear indicator for quickly for people to go, oh, she's got Samoan heritage in her. And growing up in South Auckland, that was really big for me, even though I'm not fluent in Samoan. And now my experience with the Samoan language is very personal in the sense that because my mum her first language is Samoan, and with the illness that she has, English is starting to disappear for my mum.
Right.
So learning the Samoan language is going to become a means of the only way I can communicate with my mum. Accessibility is so important, not just to language but to culture. And I think in Aotearoa, we're really lucky in terms of proximity to our islands to have that access, as opposed to like our brothers and sisters in Australia. But also like eliminating shame. Like I can't even count the amount of times that I've said a Samoan word or phrase in my head and just I can't put it out because I'm so terrified of getting it wrong.
I had this conversation with the Queen of Tonga last year.
Oh, as you do.
Just name drop right in there.
At the Pacific Conference of Churches last year at Otahuhu. And what she said is, we've got lots of Pacific Islanders born and raised here in Aotearoa who are skilled. They've got amazing jobs in New Zealand. Why don't go back home and give back to the islands?
Absolutely.
In that way you can reconnect with your people, reconnect with the language and the culture. So I thought that's
another idea, a good way to go,
Yes,
to
absolutely.
connect.
Yes.
Yeah,
I had
absolutely.
a conversation with Queen Latifah the other week, so yeah. Just thought, now that you're showing off now with her, an audience with Her Majesty.
Oh, what did she have to say?
But I must say, nowadays, employment-wise, people like bilingualism. Even saying that's a bit of a tongue twister.
You did really well.
It's a good skill to have, and they say the more languages and the more skills you have, the more good-looking you are. So hence why I speak 1,000 languages.
There's huge benefits in being bilingual, absolutely. I want to go back to that point about being Afakasi because a lot of your work as a poet is around this sort of identity crisis, would you call it?
I mean, me personally, I don't define myself as Afagasi anymore. For me, that was a certain journey to a point, and I just came to a place where I'm just like, I'm a human being. I'm from Oceania. That's who I am, because it's so many different things. But yeah, I think Afagasis are way more accepted.
There's also you brought it up, Malcolm, some really beautiful Pacific Island values that we're sort of passing on to our generations as well. Do you think that as the generations go on, we're losing those values? What do you think of that?
The concept of village is different. Like if you're living not living in the, you know, the motherland or the fatherland, your village might consist of people that are not even from your land, you know what I mean? So it could be your friends, your school teachers, the wider community, not necessarily with like actual family that are related through blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whanana, you have a family. Is it important to pass the Samoan language, culture, values onto your kids?
Yeah, it is, and we're doing a bit better now at teaching her Samoan because we got lazy. It's just easier to speak English at home. Hey, my wife's Samoan is stronger. I was interested in your point because when I used to pray in Samoan, so it was all right, but then there were certain words that you would use, or it's the intonation, I don't know the word, but I would say words and you can hear people laughing because, you know, it's, you know, you're praying for someone because they're sick, but I've actually said they're pregnant. And so you know the word I'm talking about, all the Samoans listening. But I think what my parents did really well was they let us make mistakes. They didn't laugh at us or mock us. I know my aunties and that were all mocking, like, what a waste of time he is. But my parents...
But look at you now. Look at you now, Whanana. Look at you.
Yes, I'm now some, but I haven't spoken with Queen Latifah though. But you see what that does is it builds our confidence. And so my daughter knows that she's got two parents who are going to be able to encourage her. We're not going to laugh at her. I guess the biggest premise for us is that she comes from a home where she's absolutely loved.
I think values is something that separates us from everyone else, value of respect and whatnot. But in saying that, we need to encourage our young one to practice these values. A research I just read a few weeks ago about New Zealand-born Pacific Islanders hardly go to church anymore. Spirituality is quite a big thing in Pacific people.
True.
But in having said that, we continue to showcase these values which are connected to the spirituality of a person. A professor once said, I think it was from Virginia Commonwealth University, once said that if you change you, then you change the way I see you. If the way I see you fits in with the way I see me, then that changes the way I see me. If I don't know you anymore, then it's sad to say that I don't know who I am. So if we go around saying that people don't know their language or plastic or what other terms, that means we don't know who we are. So it's, like you said, it takes a village to raise a child. So how can we construct that village living here in Aotearoa?
You're
That's
amazing.
We need a round of applause for that one. Yeah, do you want to do the next one? Well, guys, some really, honestly, really great discussions here, guys. But did everyone agree out there on the street, JP?
This is a very good topic, Alistair. Let's have a look at what people had to say. Are you in touch with your Pacific root?
Yeah. I can speak my language.
It is something that it is embedded by our ancestors and our elderly, so it is keeping the identity to know who you are as a person, but don't try and be someone else, because you can't be.
So keep it alive, especially in Oath. So it's not just go to the festival day, it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Kia ora everybody, welcome back to TV Plus Tangata Pasifika's Summer Series. Today we're talking about what it is that makes us Pasifika in our panel discussion. But first, here's the last clue to identify our Who Am I mystery person. My last role was kind of fishy. So do you get it now? Do you get it? Okay. Save your answers. We'll reveal all soon, but right now we're going back to our panel. So we're talking about representation of Pasifika people internationally, right? So we brought up, in part one, we brought up the Moana film. We've got a few other international sort of representations. Are we happy with how we're being represented?
Being a Fijian, particularly sevens, is quite out there for us.
Absolutely.
Come on. And,
Yes.
But I think Fijians are more than just sevens, you know? We need more Fijians out there. Even here in New Zealand, if you look around, there's not enough Fijians who are actually out there in the public. And I get this all the time when I go out to Fijian communities. You know, we need more of you out there. So not just acting, but and politicians, as prime ministers in different governments and all that. So yeah.
Because it is a struggle to get away from that representation of sports and arts, isn't it, for Pacific people? For you, Grace, what do you think about the world stage?
I think that it's really important that whoever is out there, whatever their profession is that they're defining their own, what Pacific is to them, the platforms of which they have. You know, you can have someone, like for example, Moana, you can have Moana there, but it's done by Disney and it's done by what is the platform and the lens of which it's being put out on. So it's our people that need to be building the platforms in which that we showcase and that we stand on and showcase ourselves.
We can't just be the people who front things. You know, there was an article for I Tangata where I was saying that we're teachers and we're cops and we're fire people and lots of other things, but technically we're still the factory floor because the people making the decisions don't look like us. You look at the Blues team, the Chiefs, the All Blacks, so all our people that run out there, but who's making the decisions? They're all Palangi.
So does that come down to education, to bringing more opportunities to our Pacific young people? Like, what does that come down to? How do we get our...
And it's slowly happening, though. I mean, the chair of the Auckland Rugby, you know, Aroni Clark is there. We've got in the High Court, we've got Aida Malosi. So I could name many more, but my memory's so bad. But there's so many of our people that are doing good work. And I take it back to Pita Tawhatofua with the image internationally. True. He put Tonga on the map because he took his shirt off and he was well oiled. But I must say...
Fijian oil.
That's a great way to put it.
But we have to be careful with our image overseas because I don't want people to just think we're all just sports people. And in the movies, we're all just we're just the tough, big fight, big guy in the background. We're also doing some great work, and I think we need to do more to bring that up.
I totally agree with that. Well, honestly, it's truly been fun having you guys on our panel. Thank you very much. But it's now time to reveal our Who Am I mystery guest. We're going to give our panel 5 seconds to write their answers on the cards in front of them. Go for it, you guys. I don't know if you can remember the clues. Everyone seems to be... OK, great. Awesome. Before we reveal our panellists' answers, JP, did anyone on the street get it right?
Thank you very much, Star. We had a lot of fun with this, son.
I don't know, The Rock.
Is that the guy that acts Aquaman? I don't even know his name.
I can't say his name. It's Momoa.
Is that the Kazi Jason Momoa?
Absolutely right there, mate. Very good. Now, let's find out. Efeso, who do you think the mystery person is?
John Pulu Aquaman. Yeah, see?
That's amazing.
You get 1,000 points. All right, Grace, let's have a look.
No. Dreams are free.
And Mr. Viti?
I guess I'd love to give his full name, which is...
Congratulations. You have all won yourself a Jason Momoa fork. That's right. Yeah. Well done. Yes, it's Jason Momoa.
Awesome work, guys. Wow, that's the end of this week's panel discussion. Thank you to all of our guests. It's been a pleasure having you on, seriously.
I'm going to miss you guys.
Join us again next week for another TP Plus panel discussion. Our topic, can we have it all? Successful career, family and health. Maybe. We'll find out next week. Well, thank you for joining us. Ka kite.